Well, right now we are coming to you with a breaking news that's coming in with regards to Vice President and Rajya Sabha Chairman Jagdeep Dhankhar, who has received a telephone call from the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who has expressed great pain over the abject theatrics of some honourable MPs, and that too in the sacred Parliament complex yesterday. As we were just bringing to you the information with regards to Kalyan Banerjee having mimicked Jagdeep Dhankhar on the steps in the Parliament, and right now we are cutting across to Pallavi Ghosh to get some more details with regards to this call that's come in from the Prime Minister. Pallavi, if you could take us through the chat that's taken place between the Prime Minister and the Vice President on this matter. Pallavi, could you hear me? Can you hear my voice?
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, the Prime Minister called in and stepped in into the entire Kalyan Banerjee mimicry incident. I would say is huge. And he calls up the Vice Chairperson or the Vice President or rather the Chairperson what the chairperson himself, where Kalyan Banerjee was seen making that video, and that video was actually made by Rahul Gandhi and many other MPs. And Kalyan Banerjee was aping and mimicking the chairperson of the Rajya Sabha. But the Prime Minister also interestingly and very importantly said another important thing. He said that he too has been a target for ridicule for many, many years, and even now he is. To which the chairperson replies by saying it's not going to stop him from doing his job. His job is to protect the constitution and the constitutional procedure. These are very important developments because one is going to set the stage for what is happening inside Parliament for the rest of the day. And when upping its ante at the BJP, but that's what opposition is trying to do. But more importantly, you're going to have a meeting at 11 a.m. between Mamata Banerjee, in which Kalyan Banerjee is also going to be a part of that delegation. Will the Prime Minister say something directly to Kalyan Banerjee? That'll be interesting to watch. But I think the Prime Minister's this phone call sets the stage for further confrontation between the government and the opposition, and more importantly, the Prime Minister himself stepping in to kind of criticize very, very strongly that mimicry by Kalyan Banerjee yesterday.
Right, Pallavi. Pallavi, we also have Payal Mehta joining us on the broadcast to bring us more details with regards to this call that's been made by the Prime Minister. Payal, coming to you. Well, as Pallavi just mentioned, the Prime Minister has also said that he too has been on the receiving end of such ridicule from the opposition and has strongly condemned what has taken place. What are we expecting post this, especially like Pallavi also flagged that we have a meeting where we might expect him to speak to Kalyan Banerjee directly with regards to what's taken place?
The meeting that is taking place today is with Mamata Banerjee. She's bringing along her MPs as well. I do not think at this point in time that the Prime Minister will in fact make any mention of that, or give any importance to Kalyan Banerjee over there. But the Prime Minister often more than words, his actions really speak a lot, and that's the reason the Prime Minister's call to the Vice President of India becomes extremely important. We saw what panned out yesterday, that Rahul Gandhi was seen shooting a video while Kalyan Banerjee was seen mocking the Vice President, mocking his hump with the way he walks, the way he stands up. All of these things have been brought to the fore, as well as the Prime Minister making a mention that he's been at the receiving end. Remember the Maut Ka Saudagar jibe. Remember the jibe of calling him leech, the jibe of calling him chowkidar, the jibe of calling him a chai wala. So all of these abuses have been hurled at the Prime Minister. And the Prime Minister, even in the recent election rally, that said that at least 2 or 3 kgs of galis are coming to me every day. Only then will they settle for anything lesser than that as well. So obviously, it's a very, very important development coming to the fore. A huge backing coming to the Vice President of India, because the opposition MPs, were seen laughing and clapping, when Kalyan Banerjee was mocking the Vice President of India and also mocking the other authorities over there as well. So let's see how this meeting pans out. But the message is loud and clear that the Prime Minister is aware of what's really happening. The Prime Minister has taken personal cognizance of the entire matter and told and in a way requested the Vice President of India not to let his spirits go down, because he obviously has a very, very important job on hand being at the chair. But again, it's being reiterated, one thing is being reiterated, that yes, the enmity that he witnessed between Jagdeep Dhankhar when he was Bengal governor with the Mamata administration is now spilling over to the Parliament, and that's the reason you saw that ugly war of words between Derek O'Brien and Mr. Dhankhar in the Rajya Sabha last week, when Derek was multiple times asked to go out of the house, but he refused to go out of the house.
Right, Payal. Payal, to stay with us right now. We'll cut across to Pallavi again. Pallavi, coming back to you, are we at this point looking at any action being taken by Jagdeep Dhankhar against Kalyan Banerjee with regards to what's happened?
I think just to take on from what Payal has said, the point the Prime Minister has consistently made is that he's been a butt of ridicule coming in from the Congress party. But the Congress's counter to that is of many instances when they too, or the Gandhis specifically, have been personally targeted by the Prime Minister and many in the BJP. But just to go back to what the Prime Minister's phone conversation was with the chairperson a short while back, I think it sets the stage for further confrontation now between the government and the opposition in the last 3 days. Key developments taking place. Even as we speak, the Congress's parliamentary party meeting is going to take place. In fact, it has begun. And over there, the Congress and Sonia Gandhi, who is heading that meeting, is already targeting the Prime Minister and the suspension. And second, at 11 a.m., Mamata Banerjee, along with Kalyan Banerjee and many other MPs, will be meeting the Prime Minister. I don't think the opposition is going to be impressed by what both Jagdeep Dhankhar has said and also what the Prime Minister have said, because they are of course going to counter by saying, what about the Prime Minister? He has scant regard for Parliament. Neither he nor the Home Minister have bothered to make a statement inside the Lok Sabha. And what is worse is that they have given interviews while the Parliament is in session. And also the Prime Minister himself has negated or diluted what parliamentary norms and constitutional norms is all about. But I think the Prime Minister's point becomes extremely strong, and that sets the stage. But more importantly, the Prime Minister made those two key important points, which we are just wrapping up. One, expressing anguish and support for the mimicry of Kalyan Banerjee by Kalyan Banerjee of the chairperson. And second, that he understands what he is going through. Because even I have gone through this many, many times over, and I'm still counting.
Right, Pallavi. Pallavi, right now we will go back to Payal with regards to this story. Payal, coming back to you, if we look at the situation from a political perspective as well, given the crucial timing of such a thing happening in the parliament, how are we looking at it politically from both sides, be it the opposition and what they exactly did at the steps of the parliament, as well as the kind of response we've seen from both Jagdeep Dhankhar and now the Prime Minister?
Well, of course, I'm going to just first tell our viewers that no action can be taken against Kalyan Banerjee given the fact that he made that comment outside Parliament, which means parliamentary procedure and parliamentary rules do not apply to it because he made that comment outside the House. Secondly, it is, of course, a very, very important political situation given the fact that the government is now going to come up and say, the Treasury bench will say that this is the attitude of the opposition, this is how they misbehave, so how can they justify that they've been suspended? Because they've been rushing up to the chair, they've been showing placards to the chair, so the behavior is very, very evident and the frustration is very, very evident. In fact, yesterday also, while the Prime Minister spoke at the parliamentary party meeting, he did mention that the opposition MPs are frustrated because they've decided that destiny is to stay in the opposition, and that's exactly what they're doing. Their actions are proving the same. Their ideology is proving the same as well. But on their front, of course, when the Congress party, will in a way, it's going to be quite a tricky situation for them. Because, their whole attention would have been on the suspension and not on an issue like this. So has Kalyan Banerjee taken the theme of the opposition?
Right, Payal. I'm very sorry to interrupt you there, but right now joining me on the broadcast is Tom Vadakan from the BJP. Mr. Vadakan, a very good morning to you and thank you for joining us on CNN News 18. Right now, firstly, the reaction to what exactly has happened at the steps of the parliament, because we know the opposition has consistently been saying that inside the House, we're looking at a death of democracy with so many suspensions, but then outside the House, this is the scenes that we are seeing.
Insulting the constitutional head's institution has become the prime agenda of the Congress party and its allies. Under these circumstances, it is they who are shocking and murdering democracy. If this is the kind of insult that has been given to the Vice President of India, they've earlier done it with the President of India. They belong to that strata that has come up in society. They're not the ones with a silver spoon. That's what is worrying them. These are people who have struggled and come up in life. So insulting them, humiliating them has become an order of the day. The other consequence of that is the Jat Samaj and farmers have reacted very strongly on this. And they said that in the next election we'll teach them a lesson. These delinquent behavior of senior opposition leaders is so shocking. I don't think in any part of the world you'll see such a sight. We are shocked and pained, and people of India are watching this very closely.
Right, Mr. Vadakan. So, Mr. Vadakan, at this point, how is the BJP going to take this matter up, not just inside the parliament, even outside the parliament? We've been seeing reactions coming in. If you could also take us through that.
Well, these issues will be dealt with appropriately. At this point of time, it will be difficult to say what course of action would follow. But electorally, they are digging their own grave. They have created a situation when the entire Jat community and the farmers community feel insulted. I saw a video today morning of their recordings of their reaction. And listening to that is clearly indicative that for this kind of behavior, they are facing the music.
Right, Mr. Vadakan. Mr. Vadakan, also right now, we just broke this to our viewers as well. The Prime Minister has made a call to Jagdeep Dhankhar and not just condemned what has happened, but also said that he himself has been at the receiving end of such ridicule from the opposition.
This is what I said. This is the practice for people coming up, struggling their way in life and reaching the top positions are not acceptable to this, to the dynasty and their families. They would always want to be in power all the time. Democracy, vibrant democracy, is about people who come up in life and who struggle and their voices are heard and they hold higher positions. It started with, they started with Modi ji, the kind of insults they threw at him, and then they did not even spare the first tribal president of India, and then now the vice president. Is there a pattern in this kind of insults? And that too, in the temple of democracy sitting outside, they have said this, and it's being recorded, but not by any other individual, but the former Congress President, Mr. Rahul Gandhi. I mean, has this come down to such a low that when somebody mimics and humiliates the Vice President of India and recording is being done by the former Congress President, isn't that shocking? This is the same behavior when he tore the ordinance. This is the kind of audacity these dynasts have. And they believe whatever they do is right. And they get away with it. But the reality is, people of India will react. The Jat community, the farmers are definitely going to look at it with very closely, watch every action that they do, and they will reply appropriately.
Right, Mr. Vadakan. Mr. Vadakan, thank you for speaking to us at CNN News 18 once again. Right now, we have Pallavi back with us on the broadcast to take the conversation further with regards to what's been going on. Pallavi, quite a few crucial points has been made by Mr. Tom Vadakan, wherein he said that electorally, this is going to, the opposition is going to pay a heavy price for this.
See, the fact is that even Congress have often, whenever you start making it boomerangs on them. Maut ka saudagar comment, chai wala, neech aadmi. They've often been a turnaround moment, and the Prime Minister did it during the Karnataka elections. He mentioned it during Madhya Pradesh. He in fact said there were 110 plus counting incidents when the Congress would take pot shots at him, try to make fun of his humble background. It's in sync with that he's telling what he had to say to the chairperson of Rajya Sabha. I don't think the Prime Minister's attack or support is only for the chairperson. It's a larger point he's making, that the entire India front is very much like the politics of what the Congress party has been, making fun of those who are in constitutional positions, who are in positions of power, and personal attacks. See, Kalyan Banerjee's mimicry certainly hasn't gone down well with the BJP. There has been a police complaint which has been filed against him. But politically speaking, of course, the BJP is going to try and use it to their advantage to again make the point which the Prime Minister himself has made, that I too have been ridiculed. Congress, India Front ridicules people in a constitutional position. They don't know how to fight their political battles. And therefore, this is a new narrative which has been pushed in by the Prime Minister today.
Right, Pallavi. Pallavi, do stay with us, because right now we are getting some